Hi, Skillmates, and welcome to our virtual assistant crash course. So, this course is assigned to be your quick guide about the virtual assistant industry. So, to give you an overview of what we will be discussing in this lesson, here they are. What is a virtual assistant? Common virtual assistant niches. The top 3 skills that every virtual assistant should have. And, of course, the last but not the least, some bonus tips for you. So, let us start by explaining what a virtual assistant is. So, of course, before deciding to hop on the trend of being a virtual assistant, you need to understand first what does being a VA entail. So, to keep it short, simple, and sweet, let us compare a virtual assistant to an office secretary and an executive assistant. The only difference is that the VA works virtually. That means they are not required to be in the office 8 hours a day. So in short, a virtual assistant is a secretary or an executive assistant, but just in an online setting. Before we move on to the next lesson, there is this one misconception that I want to clear. This is very common among newbies. So many confuse being a virtual assistant to being an online freelancer. So aren't virtual assistants also freelancers? And aren't freelancers also virtual assistants? So while it is true that a virtual assistant can be an online freelancer and an online freelancer can also be a virtual assistant, it is not always the case. And it doesn't mean that the two terms are synonymous to each other. In fact, there are some key differences between being a virtual assistant and being an online freelancer. So let us first discuss an online freelancer. Online freelancers are usually independent contractors. They tend to work with multiple clients and only work for them for a specific time range. They usually have mid to expert levels of skills, and they tend to market these specialized skills individually. So let's have an example. So for example, myself, Romie. Let's say I am great at digital marketing, paid ads, SEO, data entry, lead generation, cold calling, email marketing. But then instead of making them as a package or offering them all together, I usually market these specialized skills individually. So instead of selling all of them together, I usually just tend to market myself like, hey, Romie, a digital marketer. Hey, Romie, an SEO specialist. Hey, Romie, I offer paid ads management. So those kinds of things. So those are usually freelancers. And because of their specialized niche, they can usually charge their clients a little bit higher or even a lot higher than virtual assistants or than general virtual assistants. So here are some examples of online freelancers. Anna as a social media manager working for 3 companies. Ben as a paid ad specialist for company A. And as an inbound marketing specialist for company B. Tracy as web designer for multiple clients. Let's say 20 clients a month. So if that is an online freelancer, then what is a virtual assistant? So on the other hand, a virtual assistant may or may not be employed or tied up to one single employer. And instead of having 1 or 2 or 3 specialized expert skills, they tend to offer a wide range of skill set. They're very versatile and usually offer an all-in-one assistance to their employer from web researching, data entry, lead generation, and other things. It is not that difficult to be a virtual assistant. If you have some common sense, then definitely you can be one. You just need some kind of upskilling to be a competitive one. So if you are still a newbie when it comes to remote work, you would probably be more comfortable with working as a virtual assistant first instead of aiming to be an online freelancer immediately. However, just because you are going to be a virtual assistant doesn't mean that you cannot niche down. Of course you can. So how do you actually niche down if what you're offering is a general virtual assistant service? So you can niche down by identifying the target market or the clients that you want to work with. So as you know, there are a lot of entrepreneurs and professionals who are in need of some virtual assistant help. But each of these professional and entrepreneur usually they have different kinds of requirements for their VAs. So let's say, for example, a real estate broker would probably ask his or her VA to do some cold calling. However, a life coach might not benefit from that. So in that sense, he or she would not ask her or his virtual assistant to do some cold calls. Instead, they would probably be focused on like social media assistance, Canva graphic designs, and email management, those kinds of things. It would be super beneficial if you already know who you want to work with or what kind of client you want to work with. Because in that sense, you can just like target and upskilling the skills that they usually require for their VAs. However, if you don't have an idea yet as to what kinds of clients you actually want to work with or what kind of service you actually want to offer, that is fine. And I had also gone through that, like not knowing what you really want to offer, not knowing what kind of service you want to offer, and not knowing what kind of client you actually want to work with. That is perfectly fine. You know, as you continue your journey as a VA, slowly but surely you will unlock the mystery, and then boom, you will just realize like, hey, this is the kind of service I want to focus in, or hey, this is the kind of client I want to focus in. So you will just know it through time. Okay, but we will still tap it, or like we will still discuss it a little bit right now, because maybe it will help you, if not now, maybe in the future. Okay, but for now we are going to focus on the top 4 most common kinds of or types of virtual assistant. So these are the following: a real estate virtual assistant, medical virtual assistant, legal virtual assistant, and e-commerce virtual assistant. So let us go through them one by one. Real estate virtual assistant. So what are some of your major responsibilities as a real estate virtual assistant? So the first one is data entry. So it is typing the information of your employer's clients, such as the seller of the house or the buyer of the house. So some of the information that you might need to input are like the name, email address, mobile number, address, status reports, and other details. The second major responsibility would be spreadsheet and Excel creation and management. So as we all know, real estate deals with a lot of numbers, such as the property price, the lot area, floor area, required down payment, mortgage interest, mortgage repricing period, and others. So what are the applications that perform best in handling these numbers? Of course, there's nothing better than spreadsheet or Excel. And the third major responsibility would be cold calling. So cold calling is still one of the most popular marketing strategies for real estate companies as of today. So this requires speaking skills. So if you're confident with your English speaking skills, you probably would want to consider a real estate virtual assistant role. The next one would be appointment setting or calendar management. Of course, during cold calls, you might encounter some interested sellers or buyers, in short, potential clients, right? So you must know how to schedule a meeting with this potential buyer and your employer. It's definitely a must. And last but not the least, researching. As a real estate virtual assistant, you will do a lot of research. Researching buyer and seller leads, researching similar properties and benchmarking their prices, researching platforms to post listings, and many more. So data entry, spreadsheet and Excel creation and management, cold calling, appointment setting and calendar management, and researching are just some of the many tasks that you'll be doing as a real estate virtual assistant. So of course, there are still others, but these 5 are definitely a must. So now let's hop onto medical virtual assistant. So for medical virtual assistant, first, please remember that we are still talking about virtual assistants here. The only difference is that we are serving different clients. So for real estate virtual assistants, your clients will be real estate brokers, real estate firms, those companies. And for medical virtual assistants, you will be serving medical professionals such as dentists, OB-GYN, pediatricians, or other ones that are in the medical field, right? So, as a medical virtual assistant, your main task would include email management. So, medical professionals usually receive many emails on a day-to-day basis. They might require you to help them manage their emails by replying to the messages they receive or organizing their emails and other tasks related to their emails. The next major responsibility would be transcription. So transcription is a very common task for a medical virtual assistant. So you need to know what transcription tools are available for you to use, such as there is YouTube there, Otter, and other stuff, right? So as much as possible, it will help you to be familiar with some medical terms. This is why nurses, medical technologists, pharmacists, or people who studied medical courses and people who have already worked with medical professional before are very in demand for this role. And another great skills as a medical virtual assistant is note taking. So there will be cases when a medical virtual assistant will attend the session or consultation for a patient. So this is when they will have to unleash their note taking skills. It's not just about typing fast, but also typing the right words that come out from the consultation. This might include you writing down the prescription for the patient as well. So, of course, your tasks as a medical virtual assistant are not limited to the task we've just discussed. There will still be more responsibilities, but definitely they will be fulfilling as you're helping a professional who aims to improve the health of a person. So now let us move on to discussing the legal virtual assistant. So legal virtual assistants, just like medical virtual assistants, there will be a lot of transcription that legal virtual assistants have to do. So being familiar with the legal terms will be an advantage. So that's the first major role, okay? Transcription. The second one would be document creation and management. So it is a skill that you must possess for this role, considering you will be dealing with a lot of legalities. So expect that there will be many contracts to fill in and sign. Knowing how to create, edit, and manage documents will be one of the requirements if you want to apply as a legal virtual assistant. Another skill that you should have as a legal virtual assistant is presentation creation. So lawyers or like legal professionals usually have presentations to their partners, associates, clients, and other stakeholders. So they might need some assistance in creating the slides for this presentation. Another one would be email management. So just like any other professional, legal professionals also get tons of emails every day. So they don't have the time to respond to every single email that they receive. So thus, the help of a virtual assistant is badly needed in this area. Another one would be calendar management. So legal professionals don't just work for a single client in a single case. They have multiple cases and multiple clients to deal with. So this is why a sharp calendar management assistance is in demand in the legal industry. And of course, the next one would be Amazon or e-commerce virtual assistant. So what does an e-commerce or an Amazon virtual assistant usually do? First one would be researching. As an e-commerce virtual assistant, it's very important for you to be scrappy when it comes to research, as you will need to research for new trends, popular items, competitors, and other business opportunities out there. So providing your client as an insider of what is saleable or what are the new trendy strategies to lure customers is a part of your job. And the next one would be basic graphics design. So you will be in charge of posting your clients' items into platforms like Amazon, Etsy, and more. So of course, you want to display the best and most attractive photos of the items. So thus, knowing the basic of photo editing and graphics design would come super handy. So Canvas skills would be a requirement here. And the next skill would be inventory management. So knowing how to properly manage inventory is also a must, since you'll have to monitor your remaining stocks and how much more you should order to keep up with the demand is one of your priorities as an e-commerce virtual assistant. So as you can see, some of the required skills for a certain virtual assistant, let's say a medical virtual assistant, overlaps with the others, right? So it is because as virtual assistant, there will always be the same task that you will be doing no matter what kind of client or who you are serving. So those are among the most popular niches of virtual assistants. So to repeat, these are the real estate virtual assistants, medical virtual assistants, legal virtual assistants, and e-commerce virtual assistants. So there are still other popular VA niches like podcast VA, coach VA, influencer VA, and many more. You can explore more about these niches by researching. So for our next lessons, we'll talk about the top 3 basic skills that will help you land a role as a virtual assistant in any industry. So the next video will focus on advanced web researching. The third video will discuss email management. And of course, the last but not the least, the fourth video will cover calendar management. See you in our next lessons. Bye!